All right. Hello and welcome to another exciting LedgeView Partners webinar. Thanks to those of you who participated in our poll prior to starting today. We have a lot of webinars going on this month and are so pleased to have you join us. I'm Julia Flaherty, the Marketing Coordinator at LedgeView Partners. For those that don't know us, we are a business and technology consulting company who partners with organizations to transform sales, marketing, and customer service operations and processes that are supported by core technologies, including customer relationship management, CRM, and marketing automation. We're glad to have you here today and have a full agenda for you, but before we can dive in, I have a few quick housekeeping notes to cover. So bear with me as I go over a few quick happenings. For those of you that have been on our webinars before, welcome back. And for you newbies, thanks for joining us for the first time. We can't wait to see you back for more. We'll be taking up about 45 minutes of your time today. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand after the live session. All attendees will receive a follow-up email after the webinar is complete with a link to access the presentation. So if you haven't already, add @ledgeviewpartners.com to your safe senders list to ensure you get the email. Or if you find emails from us in your spam folder, please mark them as not spam. We encourage you to share the links you receive after today's webinar within your company and professional networks. To ensure the best audio quality, we do have everyone on listen-only mode, but if you have a question or comment, please submit those in the question pane of your GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll follow up with you afterwards. All right, now that that's out of the way, it's time to introduce the one and only Tom Lemerand, who is LedgeView Partners Pre-Sales Engineer Consultant. Tom excels at helping guide businesses with their CRM needs, whatever size they are or industry they're a part of. I can't think of anyone better to uncover the topic of Power BI than Tom. He's an information system all on his own, so you're in for a treat today. And with that, I'll let him take over and get the conversation going.
All right, thanks a lot, Julia. I gotta love those marketing pitches. I can say I did not write that for her. But anyways, let's jump right into what we're going to be talking about today. So I just want to show you some capabilities and what's possible with Power BI. We had that poll at the beginning just to kind of see where some people are at, on if they've used Power BI before, if they haven't used Power BI. So that was very helpful. About 60% of the people on the call today have not used Power BI, and of course about 40%, if my math is correct, means that they have. Some of them were unknown, but we'll just round it up to make it even numbers here. So let's jump right into what we're going to be covering today. So I'm going to be giving you a high-level overview of Power BI. I was going to breeze through this if everyone has used it or know about it, but now I'm going to spend a little bit of time for those of you on here because 60% of you have not used Power BI before. Then I'm just going to show you, I'm going to be very specific on the examples today. There's a lot of different charts, there's a lot of different items that we can show you, and we can over-indate you with lots of different power charts and different things, but I have specific use cases around sales, and then I'm going to show you a fun visual that we can do once we kind of go through all of our sales areas. And then let's kind of talk about some items about Power BI, like planning and implementing, and some other tips and tricks that we can talk through, at the end of the demonstration here. During this time, as Julia mentioned, if you have any questions, please just ask them in the question pane. I know that we're going to have time afterwards to go through the different questions, so I can maybe answer some questions right during this session. Otherwise, as Julia mentioned, if I need to research, if I need to do some, if I don't have enough time at the end, I will reach out back to you after this and answer any questions you may have. All right, let's jump right into what is Power BI. So if we look at this simple, pretty simple looking diagram here, is that you can have all of your different sources of data coming in. So if you notice here, we have, of course, a lot of the Microsoft items. We can have Access, we can have Excel, we can have SQL Server, we can have other areas. So the example here, MailChimp. We'll have one of their main competitors. We have Salesforce on here. We have, of course, Dynamics, everything that's in the Dynamics 365 platform. And then pretty much any place that we can access data can be a data source. And so, these are just some simple examples that you use every day, but pretty much anything that has the ability to connect to and have data inside of it, we can put it into what they call the Power BI engine, and then that transforms into reporting. Now, we can mix and match data inside these reports. We can do multiple different things in here. So it's a very powerful tool. Of course, today we're going to be focusing on Dynamics 365 for sales. But again, if we had stuff in our CRM environments, and then we also go back and have stuff in our ERPs or accounting solutions that we just don't have in one single area, like in a data warehouse or something like that, Power BI can be that enterprise tool in the middle. Now, Power BI is a very powerful tool. It can be as simple as we're just going to look at some Excel documents and make them pretty, or all the way to we're integrating with 10, 15, 20 different systems to provide, a whole organizational or enterprise level view on what's happening through all these different applications. All right. So now let's kind of jump into actually the demo about this. So what I'm going to be showing you today is that I'm going to actually kind of show you some of the dashboards that we have inside Dynamics based on the data that we have in there, and then show you how we can take the exact same data based on the dashboards that we have inside of CRM and show them how we can expand them and do lots of different fun stuff inside of Power BI. So with that, let's jump right into the demo. So I'm going to switch over to my demo here. All right. Okay. So I am in Dynamics 365 for Sales Online. So I know not all of you are 365 online users, but what I can tell you is that no matter what version of Dynamics 365 or Dynamics CRM you are on, if it's on-premise, if it's online, you can connect Power BI into it, meaning that I can use Power BI to report off of that. The differences come into play when some of the features I am showing you right here. So Power BI with the newer versions of Dynamics 365 actually embed into the actual dashboards. Now, if you're on an older version of an on-premise one, this option is not available to you, but you can still access Power BI through the web. It's just a different URL. So that'd be the only difference between what you're seeing now if you're on-premise, is that I'm actually bringing up the dashboards, but the dashboards are going to look exactly the same. It's just you have to use a different URL if you're an on-premise user. Now, Power BI can be brought up inside of iframes and things like that. So we could play with that for on-premise, but probably most of the time, if you are on-premise, we would just use the Power BI kind of web interface for them to interact with the dashboards. But let's jump right into here. And so when we talk about sales, there are two main areas that salespeople, managers, executives all want to do. And if this was an open demonstration, I'd poll the crowd, what are the top two things that people want to know? But since you guys are on mute, I will answer the question for you, is that it's quota. How am I doing? What is my goal today? Where am I in my quota compared to where I should be in my quota? My goal. So inside Dynamics, they have that module called the goal module. So that is one area. And then the second one is like pipeline. What is my pipeline? How do I look? What am I doing? How am I converting? If I have enough leads to get where I need to go? How am I looking for my pipeline? How are my different reps doing inside their pipeline? How many different stages am I at? So those are the two main areas. So let's dive into those on how we can see them inside of Dynamics 365 using their standard dashboards, and then I'll show you how we can do it within Power BI. So I'm going to start with the quota or goal management. Some of you use goals right now, some of you may not, so I will focus on this a little bit because there are some unique dashboards that are by default inside of Dynamics 365. So this is just a simple quota dashboard that I created. I just put 4 panes in here. And then if we look at here is that I have what's my goal, how much has I percentage achieved have my goal, and then where should I be where should I be in my overall area? And then I just have a list of my actual goals. So then, if I scroll through here, I can see Alan and where he is, what percentage he achieved, and then what the actual, and then what the target is on here. So these are all, this is just a simple way to do dashboarding inside of Dynamics if you haven't seen this specific area. So what it's going to look at is that it's going to say the blue is the actual money. So about $23 million has been actual. The goal is going to be 28.7. This orange right here is saying that there's $34 million kind of in the pipeline. So if we close everything, we will have $34 million more, that we have sold. And then this little triangle is where you should be during this time. And this little triangle is based 100% on the date. So because I'm in October, it's saying that I should be, 3/4 of the way through. So it's all based on date. There's no other calculations. So again, these are standard dashboards inside of Dynamics. I can change my different views if I want to, but this is about as much as I can get into here, in my Dynamics 365 dashboard. Again, some of you probably have seen this. So let's jump into now what we can do with Power BI. This is the area that I'm saying that if you're on premise, this is not going to be available to you. But again, these dashboards are still going to be available to you through a Power BI web URL. So now what I can do, since I'm on CRM Online here, is I can go into here and I can look at, I have these different Power BI dashboards. And if you notice, there's just a little different icon. Here's the 4 little, squares for regular Dynamics 365 dashboard. And then here's that new icon for Power BI. So I'm going to open up this quota dashboard. So what this is doing is that I'm still inside of my Dynamics environment. Notice I'm still inside Dynamics, but what it's doing right now is that it's connecting to Power BI and it's bringing up the dashboard inside of here. So I made this a pretty simple dashboard right now. So notice that I have, kind of similar data, but just looks a little bit nicer to look at here. So I just have some cards up here saying, pretty easy to read where I'm at. I got 23 million that I booked, 83%. I have attained 83% of it. Here is where I am with my company. I didn't really make it in the first quarter, but second and third quarter, I kind of made up for it, and probably right where I should be with my fourth quarter since it's just starting in October. And then if I scroll down, I can kind of see where I'm at in October right now, or in my Q4 goals for my sales reps. And I can kind of see, some people are killing it already and some people haven't started yet. But again, it's just a really simple way for me to take a look at my data. But the nice thing about this is that one of the things that we'll talk about at the end is that you should be keeping your dashboard simple, because I could be throwing 100 different tiles on here if I wanted to, but then you'd be scrolling down, you'd be looking at all this different stuff. But the nice thing is that I can actually drill into this detail, and then I can say that here's the high level dashboard, but let me drill into what the actual details are. And if you notice, this is just very simple, is that if I just want to see how my team is doing per quarter, here's just a simple list and the actual data that's coming from Dynamics. But let me drill into this information and get some more details. So this is what they classify as a dashboard. When I drill into here, this is what they have as a report. So now in these reports, I can do a lot more stuff inside these reports. The dashboards are nice. I can do some nice little things in here, but these reports are really where I can do a lot more items. So now notice I can format these reports, make them look a little bit nicer, put a logo on here, put a title in here. I actually now have some more tiles inside of here. So I have, book business versus what my total quota is. I still have that attained. But now notice I just have some different, views and dashboards and charts on how I want to look through this data. And the nice part is once I get to the report area, all this is interactive, meaning that if I go into here and I just look at my different, booked businesses by region. So I have Northwest, East, and South. And then I have it, booked business by industry. If you notice, transportation is my biggest industry. I want to see, how does my industry look per my regions? Well, instead of having to create a whole nother chart or anything like that, I can just click on North, and then it will automatically show me that, you know what, about half of the stuff in North is transportation, you know, not as much financial, a lot of entertainment, and then social services is 100% of it is only in the North. But the one thing that's really nice is that I can actually go through here and start hovering over, right? So now I'm seeing that of the 16 million that are in transportation, 9 million is in the North because that's what I have highlighted. And I can go through here and, you know, kind of hover over these items, and I can see, you know, really easily if I want to switch this back and I just want to see how I'm doing in my East. You know, I don't have any transportation in East. I have a little bit of financial in the East. So now this just gives me a really easy way to be able to, you know, see my information in a little bit cleaner area, and then be able to kind of drill down into it and see what I'm able to, you know, look at or be able to see based on the different areas I'm kind of filtering by. So the nice thing is that notice that no matter when I hover over any of these areas, it gives me this little tile that kind of shows exactly what's going on with this information. The nice thing is that most of these charts inside of here have the ability to add more information into there. So if I have this and I want to see more information about the industry, I could have different fields that pop up on this tile that I can configure on here. So again, it's very easy for me to be able to see the information, be able to hover over it and quickly make decisions based on it. And I mean, I'll be honest, this looks much cleaner, much nicer than what we could do inside Dynamics. Now again, can I go inside Dynamics and make you know, a pie chart that looks by region? Absolutely, I can do that. But just the look and feel of how Power BI is there, it just feels cleaner, and this integration or the ability to kind of drill into the different items just flows much nicer inside of Power BI. But with that, when I drilled into this, notice that I have a lot more tabs in here. So it drilled into this kind of main page, but now, okay, this is kind of my quota dashboard for the company. I'm seeing this for the company. Now I want to go down and I want to see how are my reps actually doing. So I'm going to have another tab here for reps. So again, I'm still inside of Dynamics. All this information is specifically for Dynamics, but now what I'm doing here is that now I'm going to be switching over from company quota information. I'm going to go down to the rep information now. So now the difference here is that I actually have what they call a splitter right here. So what this allows me to do is that I can see how I'm doing versus my different quota or different quarters. So I'm default on quarter. I'm on quarter 4 right now. I can go and filter on quarter 3. And so now, you know, I can see what reps are doing well. I can see how much they're selling by business. And again, the same thing, I can highlight over these different items and just kind of see, you know, a different information that I have related to this item. But this just allows me to very quickly go into here, you know, be able to select my different quarters and just see how my team is doing quarter by quarter by quarter. Now, again, if I want to see everything and I just want to see everything Alan's doing by, you know, by different quarters, I can, you know, I can change it to see everything just to see how my whole team is doing, and then very easily go back to my different quarters. So this is a pretty simple example on how we can, you know, take that information. All this information that I had here came from my goals. So, you know, I have that entity that's already out of the box. If I have those configured for all my people inside of my company, you know, how I'm managing it, or if I have it, how my company is doing, or as a whole, you know, again, all that can be now filtered down and put into this nice Power BI display. All right. So let's go back into Dynamics again. And so that was around quota. So that was the first question I have when I have sales. It's like, what is my quota? The second question is, what is my pipeline, right? And I think everybody that's on this phone has probably seen a sales pipeline inside of Dynamics 365. So let me just bring that up right now. So I'm going to go into here, and this is one area that if you probably have noticed, if you are on premise right now, you're probably saying there's not much big difference with the dashboarding capabilities inside of Dynamics 365, you know, online. And you're exactly right. I'm still in what I'm going to call the standard version. Now, they did add a new user interface that makes the dashboards, I say, pop a little bit. And then they also made made an interactive dashboard too. I'm not going to get into those today. We can get into those at a further conversation, but I'm just going to kind of show you the standard default ones. But as you notice, they haven't really changed too much over the years. So that's another reason why I think that Microsoft is really looking at Power BI to provide that additional capabilities with, the dashboarding. So let's jump into here. And I know we've all seen this, but I'm just going to bring this up inside of here. A simple sales management dashboard. You have your sales pipeline over here, and I apologize, this is a little messy. I have a lot of different business process flows running in this trial, but then I can kind of, I can do line charts inside of here. I can do my bar charts. Again, if I want to see what this looks like a little bit better, I can pop it out to make it, a little bit larger. So, it's nice. And again, there is drill through capability inside of here. If I want to go into here and if I want to drill into here and just say, I want to look at this by, I don't have a good priority, then I am able to drill through there. So I think you all know that within, again, the kind of the standard Dynamics 365 dashboard, and I can see the lists here. But let's kind of see, let's dive into this, and I want to show you some more capabilities that Power BI provides us. So I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to go into, where is it? My sales performance dashboard. So again, this is now calling up the Power BI dashboard inside of here. Nope, I pulled up the wrong one, apologize. So I'm going to bring up the sales Power BI dashboard. So now, again, the nice thing about it is that it's just a little bit cleaner, right? So now I can just see really quickly, here's my win revenue, here's my win count, here's my average deal size, here's my lead conversion rate based on how many leads that I have. So at a really quick, view, again, if we could get these type of cards, I think in the standard Dynamics dashboard, it would just provide so much more flexibility. Now I know people on the phone would be like, hey, I can do that. If I go into there and there's a really cool blog out there called CRM Chart Guy that I can go into there and I can modify the XML and I can do all that stuff to make, my dashboard inside Dynamics 365 look a lot nicer. I say more power to you guys. What I want to say with that is that that's really not for the average user. And so, again, if you have a power person that can do that, more power to you, but just out of the box dashboarding just doesn't provide it. Out of the box Power BI provides it, and so much more. So, again, it just kind of gives a little bit view of my pipeline. And now what I can do is that I can make this pipeline look a little bit cleaner than I did before. I'm just looking at the qualified, develop, propose, and close stages. I can see where those different items are. But this is one area that I want to talk about, is that so a lot of us put stuff on our opportunities where we want to say that, I have my different stages. I want to see how long I am in each stage. So I either have a workflow or I have a plugin or I have a combination of those both kind of inside my environment that takes it and this says, okay, I'm going to say that, I'm going to say it's in qualify, start in date 1. And then when it goes to the next stage, say close that, I can put some calculations on there, and then I can now see how many days it's taking per my different stages. I couldn't find a good way to display that inside of my Dynamics 365 dashboard. But through here, it's very simple for me to do that. So now, if you notice here, is that more than that, I kind of put goals around it too. So I'm saying that, in my qualify stage, I feel that we should be on 45 days. And we're on average 54 for develop 30. So, propose, we're doing better in propose, and then, close, we're right around that. So, if I'm saying that right now, we should have, a little bit more, maybe a 4-month period for it. How am I doing against that? So this Power BI gave me a really simple way to be able to, show this, but let's drill into this some more because I think this can be very powerful. So I know not all of you have this, but if you had the ability to report on it, I think it would be something that you guys would see valuable, and that's what Power BI provides us. So let's dive into this area. So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to say, now that I can see some more information about this, I'm going to bring up this report that really lets me drill into some of these items some more. So now, again, here is where my average days are, but now I'm going to do it by my different people, because different people do stuff different ways. So I'm going to look how Alan's doing this. And now I can kind of see, you know, how Alan is doing this, and I can see where the target is based on where they are. And again, so Alan's taken a long time to propose, but, you know, these other areas are a little bit better for where where he should be at. So, you know, this is a nice way for me to be able to very quickly and easily go into there. And also, you know what, is he spending a lot of time on deals, you know, on smaller deals? And he is spending more time than what he should be on smaller deals. So now this just kind of gives me a quick and easy way to say, hey, is there some coaching? Is there some more information I should be providing, just based on me tracking where I'm going from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3. So this is, again, I couldn't find a good way to really report this inside of Dynamics dashboards, but because I have Power BI, that's why I really brought this up, is that I know it's not out-of-the-box capabilities, but because you can report on it, I feel that it's something that can be beneficial to you. And then, you know, the good old, am I spending a lot of time on small projects compared to larger projects? And my data is pretty friendly to the people, so I'm spending about the right amount of time that I should be on deals that are less than 500,000. And you know what? I expect myself to be doing this. But let's say if this was reverse, then I can start talking to my team and saying, you know, what's causing you to spend more time on these smaller deals and not spend time on the larger deals? Or what are we providing you for resources that you can't use on smaller deals but you can on larger deals? So again, it just has a conversation that, you know, you can have based on having this, you know, very easily to be able to see and look at this. So, all right, now I'm going to go back to this Power BI dashboard, and I clicked on this specific tile, and so it brought me to the very thing that related to this tile. But I'm going to go into my sales pipeline now. If I click on my sales pipeline, this actually brings me into a whole nother Power BI report that has a lot more information. So now, if you notice, there are tons of tabs that are available in here. And for those of you that have used Power BI, you can say, hey, you know, Tom, that looks very familiar. And it does, and I'll talk about it at the end where I got this. But this is just another area where, you know what, I can change the front end and I can have multiple different tiles or different charts or measurements, and then they can relate back and drill into very specific reports. So that's really just wanted to show you here, is that, again, this one, you know, there's all different types of things that we can be looking at per the different ones, and you can kind of see the different types of charts we have. You know, again, we have maps, we can have our industry items that we were looking at before. So again, this just gives you, I'm not going to drill into each one of these, but what I wanted to just kind of point out to you is that, you know, there's multiple different ways to be able to drill into the data. I don't have to put everything into one report. I could actually have each one of those different tiles on my dashboard could drill into a separate report if you need to show separate data. So it is a very powerful tool to be able to do that. All right. So the next topic I do want to talk about is that there are a lot of visuals in there, and there are some fun visuals that you can do. And let me just show you one of the fun visuals that we can do inside of here. So this is called the aquarium, and it's pretty self-explanatory once this loads, is that I can have an aquarium view here. And so let me have this load. So again, I can have these fishies swimming around, and what is this measuring right now? So what I am measuring right now is that I am measuring, this is back to my quota, I am measuring what is my goal versus what is my actual. Now, if I hover over these fish, I can see that, okay, this person is the company goal, and it's at 7 million is actual money, and then the target is 7.5. So if you notice, this fish is swimming a little bit higher than this fish. That means that, you know what, we're meeting our goals. So other people that have, like up here, so Julian has $1 million goal, but his fish is down here, and he's not having that. So that is where, again, you can play with this. You can see what this is. If you have this on sales, and let's say you get negative amounts, or if you have negative amounts in here, you'll have fish that die and float up to the top. So it's just kind of a fun way to be able to, display data. Now, again, is this how you're going to want to see all of your information? Absolutely not. But what I wanted to let you know is that data can be serious, but data can also be fun. And so, you know what, just based on how your team is and how you want to see stuff, if this is just kind of up on a monitor along with some other, charts and some graphs and maybe some cards, it's just kind of a fun way to be able to see and look at your data. All right, the last thing I want to talk to you about is that, again, this is for Dynamics Online users, is that some people say, hey, you know what, it'd be great, it'd be awesome if I could mix Power BI dashboards with Dynamics dashboards. And Microsoft heard that and said, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. So then I can actually create a Dynamics 365 dashboard that has components and views that I see normally on my Dynamics 365 ones, but I can add Power BI. I can add Power BI actual charts or tiles on it. So notice here's that ugly sales pipeline that I showed you before. Here is a list of my open opportunities, a standard view inside of here. But now notice I added, here is that nice little, average days by stage chart that we talked about. And then also here's my one revenue, again, just kind of showing the different areas by industry where, I'm winning most of mine in the financial area, and then how it's looking inside of there. But the nice thing is that, I can drill into here like I normally do on a, within a standard Power or in a standard Dynamics 365 chart. But the cool part is I can also click on here and it brings up my Power BI report that's associated to it. So the same capabilities, but now I can mix and match and have, I could have my cards in there, plus have some of my, Dynamics 365 environment with there. So again, that capability to mix and match is available inside of your environment. And then to do that, it's very simple. I just go into here, so I can create a Dynamics 365 dashboard. Otherwise, I can create a Power BI dashboard. If I'm creating a Power BI dashboard, I'm actually picking a dashboard that I already created within my Power BI environment. Now, this demonstration was more just kind of showing you the power of Power BI and just kind of showing you examples. I'm not going to get into the technical part of it. If that's one area that you guys are interested in, just let us know in like the feedback, or send us an email and just let us know. And, we always have future webinars that we like to do different things that, interest the people that attend these. So if that's an interest to you, we could probably do like a, Power BI 101 thing, because there's a lot of stuff to do in Power BI. It's just like saying, all right, how do I do a developer training for Dynamics 365? It's to that extent. But what I do here is that, if I say Power BI dashboard, notice then I can just pick what workspace I'm working in, and here's those different Power BI dashboards that I have access to. So these are ones that have been pre-built inside of Power BI. So with that, I do want to show you that, so Power BI is a standalone tool. There's a desktop version, and then there's the web version. What I will say is that most of the time we use the desktop version to build the reports that we're going to use. Then we can publish those into the web, and then that's what we can see inside of here. So now, if you are a CRM on-premise user and you say, I still want to use Power BI, this is where you would go into here. So you would have these dashboards, and notice I can have my quota dashboard. So this is that quota dashboard that I could be looking at. Same exact dashboard, same exact look and feel, same exact capabilities to drill into my data that I did inside of here. So this is what I would use, or this is the URL I would use if I'm on premise and I don't have access to embed it directly inside of my, Dynamics 365 environment. All right. So that is what I wanted to show you right now. So now I'm going to go back to the presentation. Let's kind of talk about, kind of next steps for you and what we can be looking at. Well, actually, I'm not going to go back into there just yet. So one thing that I want to let you know of is that Microsoft just doesn't doesn't just leave you hanging saying, hey, you got to build all these things by yourself. If you are a Dynamics, if you are a CRM user, there are a couple of apps that they have created for you already to give you some examples. So there's a sales one, there's a customer service one, I believe there's a field service one. I got to see if there's a project one or not, but these are areas that you can actually download. So from here, notice this is just a URL. I'll send you if you want the URL, it's in my PowerPoint. I don't know if that's available to you or not, but we'll get it to you if you need this URL. But anyways, here I can download those examples that I can see: sales, service, and process. And then what they do inside of here. If I go into this app right here, so now notice this is everything against my Dynamics environment, but these are just pre-built ones. What I will say is that this is just something good to just kind of get yourself familiar with Power BI. I wouldn't recommend this be your company facing one, just because there's so much here, right? We might take some of these tiles and maybe take 2 or 3 of these tiles and put them on a separate dashboard and then drill into some of this detail. But this is, again, this just really kind of shows you the capabilities that are available inside of Dynamics, but these are pre-built for you. And so again, just gives you some nice examples. I can drill into here, and this is where that report came up. So I actually kind of stole this report from, so I could do it in my dashboard. But again, it just gives you examples on what you can do on these different reports here. So this is just a nice way to start without having to know how to build and develop into Power BI, just to kind of see how your data looks like by default inside of Power BI. So these are really nice resources. The next resource I want to talk about is that visuals. Microsoft has provided, or I should say Microsoft and their partners have provided 177 free visuals for you to utilize. So again, we don't want to get too complicated. We don't want to, give them 100 different visuals on one dashboard. But you know what? Some people just want their data to look a certain way, and there's tons and tons and tons of visuals. Here's that nice little aquarium that I showed you for a fun thing. But there's all these different types of visuals. If you notice, I didn't put any gauges in mine. There's some people say don't use gauges, they don't show you anything. But if you like gauges and you want to see gauges in a typical dashboard, you can download different types of gauges. So there's just lots and lots of visuals that you can utilize in here. The last thing I just want to talk about is that there is a way to embed Power BI dashboards or components inside of forms. It's not easy. Someone made this Power BI viewer inside of there so that you can bring up a form and see that. I'm going to say that this is going to be more advanced to use that. There's not an out-of-the-box process to put Power BI dashboards on your forms, but I just want to let you know and give you kind of that resource. All right, so let's. I'm going to go back into my PowerPoint now, and let's finish this up here. I know that we're coming up on time, and I thank you for spending your time today. I know that it's valuable, so I don't want to. Oops. All right. So these were the different items that I just wanted to talk about. Again, we had the starter kits, we have the visuals, we have the viewers. The last thing I want to talk about is just you need to plan for reporting. What I'm going to say is that Power BI is an awesome tool. I hope you can see it today that it provides a lot of information just based on the data that's inside of most of our dynamics and systems already. But with that being said, it takes a lot of planning, and it takes a lot of coordination to be able to make those well. So those dashboards that I presented to you were pretty simple. They were very, to the point and very specific to what I want to show you. But what I will tell you is that I am not a Power BI super user. I did not have access to my development team to be able to build this. So it took me about 16 to 20 hours to build kind of those dashboards and reports, just to kind of, go around and just kind of get my feel of the lay of the land. Now, if you are an Excel expert and you love building stuff in Excel and you're a macro guy and everything like that, I think it's going to be a little bit easier for you in Power BI, but the biggest thing is that Power BI is a reporting tool. It's your data and how your data looks and how your data is staged and how your data is set up that is more critical than the actual visuals inside of Power BI. The Power BI visuals work great, and what I will tell you is that almost every visual has a video to show you how to set it up. The part that I get frustrated with is that the video, which makes sense, the data is staged exactly for how the visual can use the data. So, 2 minutes, they had the greatest looking visual ever. I'm looking at my data, I'm pulling stuff into there, and 2 hours later, I'm like, oh, I got it because I have to do all this configuration to my data inside of Power BI. What I mean by that, I got to format my dates. I got to create a date table so that now I can have everyone, if I want to filter by Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, what dates make up those quarters? So now I have a date control table that I input into my Power BI, and then I link those and relate those all to my different entities I need to have dates associated to it. Those of you that know option sets inside of Dynamics at all, is that the nice option sets come back and you see the displays, right? You see high, medium, low. You see all the nice displays of them. In Power BI, they show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 9,999, 998. They show you the actual value. So now you have to go, and there's a nice little utility in the XRM toolbox that you can go and get those nice little values, and now just link them together, and now I can see the actual values of my pick list. So that's what I mean, is that it's just not plug and play. There is some planning, there is some things. So if you guys are interested in that, we'd be more than happy to talk to you more about this, but I hope you found today valuable, and I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to turn it back over to Julia.
All right. Well, thank you for all of the great information today, Tom. I see we did have some questions submitted, so we'll be sure to follow up with you after today's webinar. It was great to see Power BI in action today and learn about how it really puts your dashboards on steroids. Very cool. If you missed it in my intro today, we did record the presentation and we'll be sending everyone a link to access this webinar on demand. You can share that within your professional networks. That email will be coming from LedgeView Partners, so once again, be sure to add at ledgeviewpartners.com to your safe senders list so you have no trouble receiving it. With any questions, as I said, we'll get back to you after today's webinar. Tom will be responding with the Dynamics 365 Power BI centric questions. We have a few more webinars coming up this October. You can register for, whether it's learning about creating a consistent sales process, leveraging lead scoring to drive results, or tuning in for one of our fan favorite user group webinars. We also encourage you to visit our website at ledgeviewpartners.com for additional on-demand resources you may like that elaborate upon some of the information Tom discussed today during his presentation, along with other important topics like the sales process, marketing tips, customer service operations, and other CRM technical insight. That said, we hope to see you on our next webinar, and thanks again for joining us today. We'll let you get back to your day, and we'll see you next time.